G'day guys, it's Jimmy here and welcome back to the podcast show. There's been a couple of team announcements ahead of this weekend's rugby. The first being Italy taking on Uruguay tomorrow morning at 3:45am. It promises to be an interesting game with two very different styles. Italy more of a defensive kicking and a little bit attacking sometimes. Uruguay very much a set piece team, good at line-up, good at scrums, and if they can clear up a few mistakes in the French game, they potentially could give Italy a huge scare. Let's have a look at the lineups first of all. We'll go with the Uruguay lineup first. It's unchanged. Your front row is Matteo Sanganuiti. Your hooker is German Klesser. Ingaku Perkello is your other prop. Your two locks, Manuel Lendeka and Felipe Alaga is your other lock. Your loose forward trio is unchanged from the French game. So it's still the same with Manuel Adaro, Manuel Dina, and Santiago Cavita. Again, if they can get to the breakdown quicker, because we know that Italy is a very good breakdown team, they can cause Italy some havoc in around there. The backline's the same, so the scrum half is Santiago Arata. The 10 is Felipe Echeverri. The 12 is the skipper, who's a talisman as well, Andreas Vizacher. Tomas Nkanari is the 13. And the back three is very, very exciting. Baltazar Amia, Gaston Mires, and Nicolas Federes. Those three, when they get the ball in space, are electric. In particular, number 11 on the other one, on the left-hand wing. He is deadly well in space. The Italians better shut him down, really. As I said, no changes from that team from the game against against France. The Italians, they've made a couple of changes. Their front row is a little bit different from the game against Namibia. Danilo Fesagiti, their prop, Gaia Macho Nicotera was their hooker. And the change is Marcaro Ricconi, who's an experienced front rower for the Italians. Their locks are Niccolo Canone and Federico Ruza. Their loose forward trio is still the same from the game against Namibia in round one. Sebastian Nigiri. Lenzo Canoni, again, the brother of Niccolo Canoni, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're brothers. And their captain, Michele Lamaro. And the backline is quite exciting. They've got Alessandro Gabsi, Tommaso Allen. I think he's Australian from memory, I think. And you've got number 12, Paolo Gabisi. Again, could be brothers of Alessandro as well. And the centre is Juan Ingalo Ingakayo Bre, Montana Ioane, Ange Capazzo, and Lorenzo Pani. Now, Ange Capazzo was that winger that scored the try against the Welsh to win their first ever Six Nations game. In a long time against Wales last year. So again, it's a changed lineup. from the game against Namibia in round one. And I think this is close to their top lineup, with a lot of experience there and a lot of some youth. And Italy, they really have to get a bonus point against Uruguay. I think if they got any chance of progressing to the next round, because they'll place the All Blacks in a week's time, which I think could decide runner-up of Pool A. So there's a lot riding on this for the Italians, which is why they've gone with this particular lineup. The bench is Luca Biggie, Federico Zani. The other replacement player is Pietro Ciccarelli, Dino Lamb, Manuel Zulini, Giovanni Patanelli, Alessandro Fusco, and the ever dangerous Paulo Odogu. He set up the light against Namibia in round one, and if he comes on in the second half against Uruguay when they need a strike weapon, then he could be it. So that's the Italian lineup, 23. And I'll just go through the Uruguay bench as well. Julio Remo Pujuras, Fugando Gatas, Diago Arabello, Ingalo Dotti, Carlos Deuce, Austin Omacha, and Felipe Bereshi, Bustia Basso as well. Again, the key for Uruguay is the breakdown in their penalty count. If they get that right, then they'll definitely give the Italians a huge scare in the game. Because against the French, they were really good in patches and building that continuity, but it was just the mistakes from Uruguay that cost them the game against the French. And if they tidy those up, as I've said before, then they'll do really well in that one. So that's Italy versus Uruguay. Now, the other game of this pool is on the Friday morning at 7 a.m. NZ time. It's Namibia versus France. France need to get a bonus point, I reckon, if they are to secure top spot. Because if they don't get a bonus point in this pool, they potentially could come second. But again, they're on a roll. They've got momentum, and if they do the precision stuff really well, then they'll do really well in that one. So we'll just go through the Namibian lineup. Excuse my pronunciations with these ones. Desirius Sethi as your prop. Your hooker is Luis van der Haysen. Juan Coetzee is your other prop. Your two locks are Adrian Ludic and Mahepsia Tajiko is your other lock. Your loose forward trio has changed a little bit since the All Blacks game. Prince Gaio Seb and Juan Retif and Max Kanjetigioko is your other flanker. Your scrum half is Jacques Thuron, who's changed from Stevens in the All Blacks game. And your fly half is also changed in Clefin Loosber. Danko Berger is your second five. And your centre is Johan Diesel. And your fullback and your two wings, Andre van der Bree and Christian Mouton is your wing, and JC Grelin is your other winger as well. So a few changes from that 15 to the All Blacks 15, in particular 10 and the 9, and the second 5. I think the second 5 was the one that got injured against the All Blacks, so that's why there's a change there. But yeah, France are expected to win this one, but you never know with Namibia. They're a side that is every 4 years doesn't get a lot of hype around the team for the World Cup, and I think they should get a lot more hype. They're the African champions after all. Well, the African champions as in the qualification round champions. And they've been in every World Cup, I think, since about 1999. So, yeah, I think they deserve that applaudance and that shout as well. There is substitutes, Orbie Nortische, Jason Bende, Bernard, Himatem Bu, Shafiku, PJ Van Lille, Richard Hardwick, Olea Blau, Alencho Isaacs, and Divan Russo as your other replacements. Again, nothing too much to read in that. France are expected to win, but I hope they give France a bit of a scare, because they certainly played some really good rugby against the All Blacks, but again, the All Blacks just were on 2 levels above. Now the French have gone with their usual pack, I think, with a few changes from the Uruguay game and the All Blacks game, led by Antoine Dupont at scrum half, the skipper. So Cyril Bay is your prop, Pateo Mavaka is your hooker, and your other prop is Unai Antonio. Now again, Antonio was brilliant against the All Blacks, and he was okay. And I don't think he played against Uruguay. We'll check that. I don't think Antonio played against them. No, he did not. But again, he was superb against the All Blacks. Broken a few tackles, and was on stuff all at times. Cameron Wokey is your lock, followed by Thibault Flemont as your other lock. And Francois Cross, Anthony Gillion, Charles Olivion is your loose forward trio. Antoine Dupont is your captain, like I said before. Matteo Gilibert, Jonathan Dante is back in the side. Gary Fiku is in the side. Thomas Ramos is back at fullback instead of fly half. And Damien Pinot is back, and followed by Louis Berry. Berry. Sorry. And your substitutes, Pierre Bougatré, Reda Wardy, Dorian Adel Giri, Roman Tuafini L, Paul Boudon, Bapsti Coulio, Yoram Mofana, and Melvin Jaminet is on the bench. I think he'll come in at fullback at some point in the second half. France have gone with a pretty strong side there. I think they should beat Namibia, and I think they'll run them off the floor. Again, they haven't really put on a good performance since the All Blacks game. I know they only played Uruguay, but I think they need a bonus point to really cement top spot in Pool A, going to the final round against the Italians. So that's the 2 lineups that's been announced for the next couple of games. The preview show will be a little bit later on tonight. It's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about Ireland versus South Africa, Australia, and Australia and Wales, the 2 big games of that particular tournament. Week 3. And also some other interesting games coming up. Portugal versus Georgia, Argentina versus Samoa, and Chile versus England as well. So we'll cover those in the preview show, which will air on YouTube at 8 p.m. NZ time tonight. Yeah, really looking forward to it. Let me know what you thought of the French team and the Italian team, or the Uruguay and Namibian team, and who do you think is going to win that game? I think Italy's going to beat Uruguay 30, 40 points, I reckon. And France will beat Namibia by about 50 plus. I think so. If you want to put a bet on the TAB or put a thing on Super Brew, then yeah, or if you're doing that predictor thing on the Rugby World Cup website, go for it. Yeah. Over and out. Kia ora.